Hey, Osiris here with the Clash of Clans guide to farming at Town Hall level 8. And in this particular video, I'm going to show you a few different army compositions you can use to farm in this range. The one I'm using now is an all-around good composition, and it's going to be 10 giants, 10 wall breakers, and then a pretty even assortment of archers and goblins. I'm not too concerned about making sure these are exact. I just keep one barracks training goblins, one training archers, and these two are for giants and wall breakers. And, as naturally I'll tend to have more archers than goblins, but that kind of evens itself out with donations. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for bases with about 300,000 combined resources, so at least 150k gold, 150k elixir, or a lot of one resource versus the other. So I'm just going to skip around until I find a good base. And this sort of balanced composition, I'll call it, with spells is capable of digging pretty deep into enemy spaces. Kind of like this one where, Archers and Barbarians would do okay, but this composition is definitely a little more effective. So start with 2 wall breakers there. Wasn't expecting those Teslas, kind of throws me off a bit. So, nothing there. I'm going to go ahead and take out this Barbarian King. I'll drop a couple giants, they'll tank that. They'll tank the Teslas, so I can come in with some goblins. Same thing with the giant right here. I'll do the same sort of thing. Okay, so I've got that one. Go ahead and drop a wall breaker here. Some in there. The last area I really want to get that drill because it's going to have some good dark elixir in it. So I'm going to drop a couple. I'm going to drop the rest of my giants here actually. And I'll go 2. And then 2 more and 1 more in just because I figured one would get taken out. Okay, so we're in pretty much everywhere. I'm going to drop the rest of these archers spread across the top. I'll come in with some goblins to take out the rest of these, what I'm looking for. Okay, so the only problem I'm having now is that I'm almost out of units and I have a decent amount of elixir left. Just want to just drop a healing spell. Okay, it's not a bad attack. I didn't get everything, but 250k of each plus 650 dark. Pretty good for just using one spell. And while I was out, training some units, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until those come back. Hey, so we're back. Took a little break there. Got a new full-size army, a little bit heavier towards archers and goblins, just because I didn't happen to donate. But again, it's not really intentional. Just 1 barracks on goblins, 1 on archers. That's all you really need. Just a quick notes, a few things I didn't really mention. I didn't mention trophy range at the start of the video. I think as long as you're at least 1,250, you're good. And I'll go up to about 1,450. From there, I usually don't try to push any higher. I don't think it's worthwhile to be up any higher. So we're just going to go ahead and skip around. In this, now that we have the Barbarian King, this is a good time to get dark elixir. This is a good base farming it because I can see all the collectors are full and it's a Town Hall 8. And like a base like this, you can just oftentimes just drop your archers, maybe a couple goblins, and then just leave, especially if you're higher in the trophy count. And that right there was a quick, 150k. It only costs me trophies. So in those kind of situations, a lot of times I'll just go again. My army this time will be a little giant heavy, but if you're able to pick off some collectors that way, that's pretty good. Still have a 150 supply army. and really all I need to try to get like somebody's Dark Elixir. This is not quite enough. Another good thing I like to do is when you have a high trophy opponent that's got a Town Hall exposed, go ahead and snipe it. They'll be happy for the shield, you'll be happy for those 10 trophies. We'll get 11 here actually. And that kind of helps make up for that match I just left where I, just took out the collectors and left. So actually back up and supply a little bit more. So let's look for a base with Dark Elixir. That'd be my ideal pick next. I could hit that. It's a little bit lower than I normally like. Maybe if there's some more resources or I had a full-size army. What I really like to do Dark Elixir for, that's what I like to have my spells for, and the Barbarian King for. I try to save both of those for Dark Elixir. That's kind of the whole point of having this army. It's very good at, I could easily get this collector if it was a little more full. I don't really want to take it at that level. Like 700 or 800 Dark Elixirs, I guess something good to shoot for. Again, just not quite enough. Okay, so here's a good base. And now this is kind of base that makes me wish I had a little bit more full on the units, because I'll be a little bit pressed to get in there, especially if that's full. I think I might be able to check that actually. The goblin here. Yep, I think that clan castle's empty. So how we're actually going to approach this from the south. It's very close to this. Where's the drill? That drill's got a little bit in it, and that drill's got a little bit in it, but it's not a lot, so I'm not too worried about it. So we're just going to start with like 10 archers down there. Because I don't want to drop my archers and have some of them churned down for this town hall. Okay, so I'm going to drop a rage spell right in this area. This is kind of the area I want to poke up at. I'm going to drop one giant, and he's going to be responsible for proccing all those traps. Then I'll drop the rest of my units. Okay, now that I've cleared some way, and I'm going to drop that Barbarian King. Okay, I'm going to take out these structures here with some goblins. And the main reason for that is I don't want my goblins running up towards that area. Okay, so I got that. I'll drop my last rage spell. And that's going to help my Barbarian King get in and get that Dark Elixir he needs. I dropped the healing spell there. I really didn't need it, but I did want to ensure that I got, the rest of that, Dark Elixir. Using 3 spells is worth it if you're going to grab, 1,300 Dark Elixir. So 1,300, and then I got a decent amount of resources. Plus, I get my trophies up. You can do that once every, hour and 45 minutes or so, however long. It's an hour and a half, so 2 hours for 3 spells. And I didn't even need that healing spell. Do that every hour and a half, once your Barbarian King's back. And that's 1,300 Dark Elixir. You really don't need to do that too many times. And you can see I've maxed out my Barbarian King. And I've come pretty far with the Dark Elixir research. I already maxed out Minion, and I'm about to max out Barbarian King at Town Hall 8. Really, it's time for me to go up in level, but I've been holding off to do some more videos for you guys. So if you found that helpful, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and I'm going to come back with a different build that's not oriented around Dark Elixir. So I've taken an extended break here, and what I've done is I went ahead and trained an army of Barbarians and Archers. 2 barracks, 1 Barbarians, 2 on Archers, nothing fancy. And this is a pretty good composition for just farming gold and elixir because this army is much cheaper and it trains faster. This army only costs around 10,000 elixir to make, and the giant and barbarian one costs closer to, trying to think of what it costs, probably close to about 60,000, because 10 wallbreakers is 30,000, 10 giants is 30,000, I think. Either 2,500 or 3,000. So this is a pretty good base. Normally this would not be enough to attack with Archers and or Giants and Barbarians or Giants and Wallbreakers because it's just too much. There's not enough resources for that cost and time training. Whereas this base is, although it's not that much resources, I'm barely spending anything to take it out. So I got most of those resources for very little effort expended. And you can even drop, if you want to try to get some trophies, you can drop your Barbarian King. Drop a couple of Barbarians down here. And the reason we can drop our Barbarian King is we'll just use this healing spell when it's towards the end. And fortunately I timed that poorly, but usually you can use the healing spell and that'll top him off. If you time it better, but I didn't. So it was 100k, and I barely spent any units. So I could actually attack again right now. So it's like I could literally attack my units to be training, and I could look again for a base with an exposed collectors or collectors that were full. So actually going to go ahead and end the video here, though. You get the idea. It's the same sort of strategy we used at Town Hall 7. For farming, it still works great at Town Hall 8, but I do like the Giant and Goblin Wallbreaker strategy. Is actually my go-to strategy at this level just because it makes it easier to get Dark Elixir. Like that 1500 Dark Elixir raid I just posted earlier in the video, I wouldn't have been able to do that with this army composition. So I do like to mostly go around with the Giants and Wallbreakers. So if you found this video helpful, I'm going to put up a separate video as well for just Dark Elixir. So go and subscribe for more Clash of Clans guys.